Angel did not almost forget the name of the show again. That's never happened to me. I don't know what you're talking about.
Now you got me laughing.
I know what you're thinking. Freak, geek, nerd. We've heard it all. We're cosplayers. A couple times every year, we make our pilgrimage to the cons.
Welcome to the regional qualifier for the national competition.
The federal government has declared a state of martial law and has warned all citizens to stay indoors. As the now confirmed outbreak begins to spread outside the border of Los Angeles.
Great, so the whole city is zombies?
What are you guys doing in your costumes?
We about to go cross this godforsaken city, and we gonna fight whatever shit be out there.
Now that the world is on fire, let there be no doubt. There is a point for all of those free of this curse to join us. Pretty room, Mom.
Why don't you stick around? We'd love to have you for dinner.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Voices from the Mausoleum, and welcome to another special episode of Indie Horror Filmmaker Conversations. Mike has been championing this for a while, so we decided to take shoot our shot, and so I messaged about doing an interview. So tonight, we are joined with the filmmakers and actress from ZombieCon Volume 1. Kyle Vallet and Erin.
Hello.
How are y'all?
Thank you
Welcome.
for having us.
Oh, thanks for
Thank
being
you
here.
so much.
Yeah, we're so excited.
As Angel said, I am a huge champion for this film. I watched it a few months back. I got to interact with you both. You reached out. I got to see a screener of this movie, and I immediately had to do the review, message you both about how much I enjoyed this film.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited that we finally get to do an interview, because I will be gushing all night long during this interview about how much I love this film. But so first, we would like for you guys to go ahead and introduce yourselves, your journeys in filmmaking and film, because I know you are also an actress. So anything you want to tell us about your journey into film, and then how we got to ZombieCon.
Right on. Awesome. Kyle, do you mind if I do the honors here?
By all means.
Hi, everyone. I'm Erin Anya. Awesome to be here. I am a producer and co-writer and one of the stars of ZombieCon Volume 1. And my journey with filmmaking acting has been pretty crazy. I've been a child actor since I was probably 7 or 8 years old, professionally represented and auditioning and acting. And I booked a lot of things in my youth. I was always auditioning. It felt like I was always on the cusp of a big break. So nothing crazy, but I booked a lot of roles, and I worked all the way through moving to Los Angeles after college. And that's where shortly after Kyle and I got together. And long story short, because he'll enter in his own story here, we both wanted, for different reasons, more control in our careers. I know I was getting burned out auditioning. It's an exhausting lifestyle, and you really don't have a ton of control in your own career. So it can feel like you're just sort of always waiting and waiting and waiting as you're getting older. So at the ripe age of 22, I was like, well, I'm just way too old. I need to start, I need to do something about this before I'm, ancient. This is how it feels as a child actor, I swear. And so, we started with some short films and started getting equipment and commercials and web series, and it kind of spiraled out of control until it ended, with us making our own feature film, and that was its own journey. But yeah, the need to have a little bit more say and control in our careers was what led the two of us down that path.
Yeah, and for me, obviously tracks with Erin from like as soon as we met onwards. But I found myself after college, I was doing like the advertising pre-law route, so I was going to go totally standard job. Always like had a dream about being in movies and like directing or acting, but again, as Erin said, all the way back then, she was 22. I'm a little bit older than she is, so I grew up in the early 90s, late 80s. There weren't really avenues. There was obviously no YouTube. There was no internet resource. So kind of, growing up in New Jersey, there was no like, hey, the film industry is right down the street, which ironically it is now in New Jersey, which was awesome back then. So I just thought you had to know someone, you had to be like born into one of these Hollywood families or something to even try it. But as I was kind of looking down the rest of my life doing advertising or go to law school, I was like, I will never forgive myself if I don't like at least try. Like if I try and fail, that's totally fine, but I've got to at least try. So I, shocked my parents. I was like, hey, I'm going to move to Los Angeles for like a month, see if it kind of works out, which is not enough time to see if it works out. But I like immediately fell in love with it over there. I met Punky Johnson in like my first week out there, and we just became like super fast friends and ended up saving a ton of money by moving in together. So I was like, I can afford to do this. Give it a little bit of a longer play, move my dog out there. And shortly thereafter, going through the auditioning process myself as not a child actor, but as a grown man, actor, I was also feeling my age because I was like, oh my God, I'm like 23 or 22. I don't know how old I was. I was old. In my mind, I was like, I was ancient. And I was like, I have no IMDb credits. Like, I look at all these famous actors. They've got at least this many IMDb credits by the time they're this age. I'll never make it. But I met Erin and we kind of like, again, same story, just started to do our own thing. And one thing leads to another. And here we are. So short change the ending there because I don't want to repeat anything, but
child acting, that's insane. I don't think I've ever met anybody that has been doing has been in the industry for that long, because we do a lot of indie horror conversations, obviously, and it's people who had to work 9 to 5s and they just got so sick of it and they weren't being able to express themselves and they wanted to be creative and they wanted to go into filmmaking, so they did, and they're like 30s, so that's crazy.
It kind of was an interesting story too, because I didn't know I was going to end up being a child actor myself. I followed my older sister to theater acting camp and came home one night and said, Mom, you didn't tell me they had an audition for an agent night. All these kids got up, they were reading monologues on this, live camera feed, and there were agents in the room. And afterward, the agents maybe offered them a spot or not. And I was like, Mom, this has always been my dream to be a professional actor. I was like bawling. And she's like, you've never mentioned this. I had the dramatics ready. I was ready.
You were there.
I went back the next week and I did a monologue and I kind of fell into it. I got offers. I chose an awesome woman team and they ended up being one of the best agencies in all of Atlanta. And so I was very like fortunate and dramatic as a child, and things worked out in that way. But I didn't know I was going to be a child actor either. It just happened. It was my dream, apparently.
You said Atlanta?
Yeah.
That's where I live. Well, that's sort of where I live. I don't live.
That's where Kyle and I live now too. No way.
I am currently in Atlanta. Yes, I am.
Yeah. How are you super? Well, it's not that private, I guess I'll say, but I live in Kennesaw, so it's like that's not. I mean, it's all
It's all super relative. Yeah, we're Brookhaven, but that's
okay.
Amazing. We should meet up. Right on.
Yeah. What? You said Atlanta, and I was like, wait a minute. I know that.
Ears perked up.
Yeah, they did. No, I think that's really cool though. And then, so when you guys, you started moving in this direction, how did we get to, first of all, I love Punky. I don't know if they're like that in real life, but that was like my favorite character, which I know we'll get into, but how did we get to ZombieCon? Like, why this story and kind of that trajectory?
Yeah, because we have some questions too for
We
you
do.
both.
I'm sure
We
you do.
We do.
Kyle, you want to take this
So-
one?
Yeah, absolutely. So we had done, as Erin was saying, we had gotten into a number of things. We had a couple businesses. One was like editing actor reels. Another was like a little bit of a commercial business. And then we started getting a little more crazy with it, some short films. And then I was like, hey, so you heard of this thing called YouTube? Again, circa 2014. And, it was a thing, but it wasn't nearly what it is today. And I'm like, yeah. So I think streaming services and like YouTube, they're the future. So we should get ahead of that. We should start our own. Like we can compete with YouTube. Sure. We've got a couple $1,000. Why the heck not? So we were like, in 9 months, we're going to make 9 web series. We're going to do 9 apps all in the iOS store. And we're going to create a website to host all of this with all the functionality. And everyone was like, you'll never be able to do that. That's insane. And we actually did it, which was awesome. Unfortunately, we missed one of the biggest points of any kind of project, which was advertising is important. Because if people don't know about it, it's kind of defeats the purpose. So after that, I'm like, you would think from an advertising major, I would have like keyed in on that. But, I was like, just totally absorbed in like artist filmmaking mode. And I was like, no, we'll just make something so good that they will have to come. And so ZombieCon kind of born out of that kind of need to find a project that was like so big, basically on such a small budget that people couldn't ignore. And we were kind of cycling through ideas. And as a first-time filmmaker, like for a feature, I was like, zombies are kind of synonymous with first-time filmmaker debuts. I love zombie films. Like, I feel like we can do that pretty well. I had this very cheap way to do zombie makeup because at the time we thought we'd only have like $5,000 to do the whole thing. So I was like, we could just do liquid latex and kind of drag it down. And once it's dried, it'll we'll just paint it up a little bit. I could do all the zombies. We'll get it all done. And Erin is like the most supportive partner on the planet. So she's like, sure, if you think we could do it, we did this other thing.
We love to hear it.
Let's give it a shot. And I think you suggested, you were like, well, maybe we should at least try to get some money for this. And we'll start like an Indiegogo or something. I think there were the brother of the guy who was in Arrow at the time was doing an Indiegogo campaign. And it had like police robots or something. And I saw the Indiegogo campaign and I was like, we could do that. We could do exactly what they did, but like zombie or at the time zombie related. And so we're like, first we'll flush out the story. I went down to visit my brother and I was just kind of looking around his house one night. We were probably drinking a little too much. So I was kind of zoned out, just staring around. And his house is like a museum. Like literally it's prop replicas from all movies.
Love that.
And some real stuff too, which is really cool. But like it's literally a museum. And I guess I looked at a Captain America shield and I was like, wow, that'd be cool to fight a zombie with that. And then I'm looking at like the Predator masks and I'm like, oh man, there's a lot of like weaponry that people who collect props, because I have a couple props. My brother like dedicates his life to it. So I'm like, there are a lot of weapons in here that you could really put up a good fight with. And then that kind of evolved to, but, obviously we're not going to ever have a budget to use a bunch of like real props because that would be extremely expensive. So I'm like, well, who else kind of has props? I'm like, well, I'm a cosplayer. I've got a lot of this stuff. It's not like props, but it's cosplay props. And then that's kind of led to, well, EVA foam is actually a really good like zombie defense tool. And then we're like, have you ever seen a movie about cosplayers? And Erin's like, no, I don't think so.
I love this.
Great.
Okay.
So let's do cosplayers versus zombies. And then we get the characters. And I'm like, well, who do we cast for this? And like I said, we had just done these 9 web series. And of course, in all those web series, we had Christian who plays Javier. He played a couple of roles. We had Carlo who plays Xander. He had a couple roles in the short films and web series. Punky was obviously involved in the web series and played a few different characters. So because we had worked together and we're all like a friend group, I was like, well, I feel like we should just all band together again. And this is kind of like our Monty Python-esque team. And so I wrote
Monty
the
Python
characters.
meets Avengers.
Nice. Yes.
And that's kind of how that's how the whole thing was born, was just out of serendipity and basically,
cool.
you know, dragging your friends along and being like, hey guys, I know we just did all that stuff, but got this
Here's
other
this
huge
other thing.
project. And then when the funding did come in from Indiegogo, which was $60K, which was like, for us, like,
Wow.
we never thought we would get anywhere
That's
close to that.
awesome.
Like, I was like, this is massive. Like, we could do anything. Bring in the cranes, get the
Sky's the
Batmobile.
limit.
Like, you know. So, we were off to the races, and yeah, I guess the rest is quintessentially, you know, history, as they say. But
That's absolutely amazing. I'm gonna do a quick synopsis of the movie because then we have some things that
Specific.
with what you said.
Yeah.
So the movie obviously it's surrounding cosplayers, but it's about Rockets, who is a group of cosplayers, a found family, which we also want to get into, who win a cosplaying contest, but they're also ridiculed and they're made fun of by rivals, by other people, and then someone, not gonna point any fingers, somebody makes a wish for all the assholes in the world to turn into zombies, and mayhem ensues.
Yes.
But something about this movie particularly that Angel and I were like discussing that had to be, because this was so well done when it comes to cosplayers, that we're like, they have to be into it, right? Like they have to be cosplayers.
Yeah.
Somebody does, because it was done so well.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that you were a cosplayer, correct?
Yeah. So I've like been unintentionally doing cosplay my entire life.
Oh,
Again,
let me jump in real quick. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I know the stories you're going to say, and your dad and I am with his parents right now, audience. And I was just talking with your dad 2 days ago, Kyle, and he reminded me that you went to the conventions for Warhammer 40,000 when you were a kid as well.
Oh, yeah.
Like you were very into those cons as well.
Okay.
Oh my God. Yes. I can't believe I forgot about some of the coolest cons ever. I don't know if anyone's into Warhammer 40,000. I'm a huge Warhammer 40,000 nerd. Like, I say I've read the books. I have not read the books. I've listened to the books.
Fair.
Listened to like 50
Fair.
of them. But no, yes, I did go to those conventions as well and played on the tabletop. I actually, in a way, it was one of the biggest inspirations for ZombieCon. Obviously drew a little bit, especially from the bullying aspect from my like early life. I was a little bit bullied, like especially in elementary school. But at a wargaming store in our area called Wizard World in like Nanuet, New York. I don't mean to call anyone out here. I don't even think the store really exists, or it's changed hands. So like this guy doesn't exist anymore. Like, it's all good. I don't really care anymore. But back then, I was like a 9-year-old playing this game, and it was usually older people who were playing it. When I say older, like 16 and 17-year-olds, 23-year-olds, like to me, like they were like, "Oh my God, these people are so big."
At 9.
As a 9-year-old.
Yeah.
So I was playing, and in the way you play the game, you've got to measure out distances for your pieces to move and stuff. But we used to use those metal tape metal tape measurers that, if you ever stretch one out far enough, it has a tendency to break. And so I stretched it out and it broke, and it knocked over one of the older kids who happened to work there's piece. And these pieces are, they're fairly expensive, and also they take a ton of time to paint. And you put a lot of hours into each one of these miniatures. And he, like, I don't know, it was one of my worst experiences of my life. He laid into me. He was like, he came back from the back. He's like, who broke this? And no one was going to sell me out. I was too scared to say anything because he was just flipping out and like having a whole rage moment that, had I had an iPhone, I would have filmed it. It would have been hilarious. I would have put it on the internet. It would have been like, guy loses it over Warhammer game. So, but this guy was just losing it. He's like, I'm gonna go back in the back and I'm gonna review the videotape and I'm gonna find out who did this, and you're never gonna be able to come in here again. And so I like meekly was like, it was me. I did it. It was like, and he like got in my face, started yelling at me, and I never played at that store again. I was like, it totally ruined like that experience for me. I think my dad went in. I went to the car crying, and I was like, Dad, the guy did something. And my dad walked back in, and I think he said something similar to like, my dad's a very calm guy. He doesn't get angry or anything. So he's just like, probably was like, very harshly, you can either, I think he talked to the boss. He's like, you can either have my business and have your employee apologize, or you can never see us again. And the guy was like, well, obviously I'm going to have the guy apologize, because that was just wrong. It's like, we weren't spending a lot of money there. Like, I was like, one of my biggest purchase there was bootleg DBZ tapes. So I don't know.
Classic.
But yeah, no, it was all sorted out. But that was kind of like one of those bullying things where it happens in the fandom that I've never actually talked about. I guess I just blacked it out. But yeah, that was
that's funny.
So that could be Xander's inspiration subconsciously.
Yeah, because there is bullying in this movie.
Yeah.
And then something that we both saw, and then there's a few things here, and I'll let Angel ask some questions too. But one thing that definitely stood out was how inclusive and diverse the leading cast was.
Yes.
You have powerful women, you have people of color, you have queer representation, and this is all while battling a zombie apocalypse, which again, in horror, there's so many metaphors that zombies can represent. So I love seeing all the different things that people do with zombies. And like you said, I have never seen any cosplaying movie, let alone a horror movie, let alone a zombie horror movie.
Yeah.
But this is a zombie horror movie with so much heart. And a lot of it has to do with your close connection to these characters. And again, the diversity inclusion was so great to see. I know you mentioned that you already knew these people, you worked with these people, but was it intentional, or was it just like great happenstance?
So remember back in 2015, 2016, right? Like a lot of the conversations we're having today or in the last couple of years, no one was really having. Obviously things were happening in the world, but it wasn't like a narrative that was taking place online. There were no hashtags about really anything. I mean, I don't remember what, and if people even, I'm sure people used hashtags back then, but it wasn't like So
it wasn't as political and like, what's the word? I don't remember the word, but like when people are advocating and stuff.
Yeah. It was just like kind of, it was something that I definitely recognized as we were filming it. And it was like something clicked where I was like, oh, well, I haven't seen a movie like this before. But in terms of casting, that's just who our friends were. And speaking of, I did forget to mention Manny in the rundown of people that obviously star in the movie. And I would be remiss if I didn't say something, but he ended up working with us on all the stuff that I mentioned previously.
Yeah.
And he had his own show and all this kind of stuff.
This is Rocket.
And he was one of the co-writers. He actually joined our production team. So the three of us are like the three legs of the tripod. And then we kind of had everyone circling around us. And that was just our friend group and the people that we met out there. And I've never really been a huge, like, I guess even through a lot of the tumult that's happened in the last couple of years, never like jumped on any kind of train in terms of really screaming my thoughts about any of this. But what I will say is that in my life, I just look for people that have heart and have genuineness, and that's what I'm attracted to. And people who are real, the people that are going to stand in your corner, and that's who those people were and are, and they're just fantastic friends. So it just seemed like totally natural to do that. There was no real angle to it or anything like that. It was just these are the people that are part of our found family in Los Angeles, because in LA everyone's kind of a transplant. So you kind of find your family there, and that's who we found. So
yeah. I have to say, I did kind of say that when Mike and I were deciding kind of how we wanted, like, thoughts we had about what we were going to talk about. I said, it may not even be intentional, because now it is something we are very big advocates for. We very much focus on creators of color, women, queer communities. Because, obviously, like, if you know anything about us, we're a completely queer ran channel. Obviously, I just look the way that I look, but Mike is very interesting and has the, is from a different background. And so, like, those are things, but I was telling him, I said, we do a lot of the stuff that we focus on. We do it naturally because that's just like who we are. So I did mention that. I was like, I wonder if maybe it may not have even necessarily been intentional. It may have just been that it just is what it is, because that's who they are as people. But I did want to kind of piggyback off of that with not so much a question, but more of a thought that I thought kind of made the idea of the inclusion important, is because I follow a lot of cosplayers. I don't do it myself because it's expensive and I'm not that talented, but I'm fascinated by it, and I'm always so impressed, especially with people who do like horror cosplays. Like, I'm always like just blown away. But I follow a lot of like Black women that cosplay, and constantly they're being berated by these comments that they're not allowed to cosplay these characters because these are white characters, or these are characters that look a certain way. And so I think it is interesting, whether intentional or not, that it's there, because I think it gives this avenue of understanding of, like, it doesn't matter, right? Because ultimately, you're not them anyway. It's a fictional character that you really love, that you connected to for whatever reason, and that's why you did it, or you thought the costume was cool, or you like whatever the reason may be. And so I that was one of the reasons that stood out to me, is because I see it in the community all the time. I see other people in the cosplay community coming down on people of color for cosplaying characters that are not necessarily, or more white, or specifically something, just a different ethnicity than they are. And so I did just kind of, I guess, want to make that comment, that I think it's cool that it's in there, because I think it's good for other people to see that, because you should be allowed to enjoy the things that you enjoy. And if you want to dress up and do these things or make your own version of it, because I know Naira is open to that either, but I think that stuff's really cool. So I love that. I love that about this. I thought that was, and because I've seen it in real time, I think that specifically kind of spoke to me a little bit when I was watching the film.
And that's absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. There's a lot of toxicity about exactly what you just mentioned, and it's something, as an artist myself, and I don't know a single artist that has ever made any kind of comment like that. I don't know how you could, if you're a creative person, have that even falls remotely near that. I mean, honestly, I would make a broader statement. I don't know how you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, I'm a decent human being, and make a comment.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
it's
100%.
It is on its base absolutely ridiculous. And I think a lot of the negativity from that, it's born out of jealousy. People see people getting attention. They see people doing great cosplays, kicking ass, getting all kinds of comments and follows. And it's just, the bitter pills in society who are just like, oh, I want that. It's like, well, if you want it, you do the hard work, and
earn it.
Go get the hot glue gun, get the seamstress kit, get your EVA foam, your plasti dip, go do your thing, make something
3D
cool.
printer.
Bring the world up instead of bringing it down. It's just so much easier for people to be negative than it is to be positive. And it's just a sad truth that people usually take the easy way out, and we all suffer for it. But
I feel like
people,
I feel like the only rules that should be, you are not allowed to cosplay XYZ character if, and this just popped into my head as you were speaking, should be if you have zero passion for the character that you're cosplaying. That's like the only reason. Like, don't bother cosplaying them if you don't care about the character or the property. Like, if your little kid or your sibling or your friends, like, please, can you cosplay this character with me? And, like, that's different. But if you put in a con dressed as a character, and people are talking to you as that character, and you have no passion or idea like what you're cosplaying as, like, that's the only reason I'd be like, why are you doing this? You really shouldn't be cosplaying as that character.
We did a giant cosplay video at San Diego Comic-Con where I was like, Erin, again, it's usually my go-to. We've got to do it so big that everyone will watch it. So I'm like,
the most like gung-ho, passionate, jump 2 feet in person I've ever met.
Well, there's so many cosplay videos that only focus on, like, the good cosplayers, quote unquote, the people who have like the suit. And I'm like, that's not fair. I'm like, everyone who spent any amount of time or has come even in a store-bought costume because maybe they don't have the time or whatever, but they want to share that passion with people. We should highlight everyone and put everyone kind of up on an equal pedestal and let, just share what they're doing with the world. So I was like, let's go through. We'll not just go to the cosplayer meetups. We'll walk the con floor and we'll film everyone that we could find in cosplay. And
inside the con, outside the con, in groups, solo. Like, we just got as many people as we could.
We got over 1,000 people. And one of the cool cherry on tops for that was at the very end of the con, we found, we randomly ran into, oh my God, I'm forgetting his name. Johnny Rico from Starship Troopers. The actor.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And
Casper Van Dien.
Casper Van Dien, yeah. What a sweet guy. His wife was a Wonder Woman cosplayer, so we were filming her, and I looked over and I'm like, that's the guy. So I talked to him and I was like, hey, we just did this movie. It's gonna be coming out, I thought, soon. Fast forward 6 years later, it's finally out. And I'm like, it's gonna be coming out soon. Like, I've got so many ideas about other movies. I'm not replaying this in my head. Like, this is probably like this guy's worst nightmare. But at the time, he was so sweet. He's like, what's the movie's name? And I'm like, ZombieCon. He's like, ZombieCon, kill them all. It's like, to the camera. And I was like, oh, that's so cool.
That is so cool.
Yeah, if y'all are ever looking for a slice of life, what was San Diego Comic-Con like in 2018? I will shoot you the link to this video. It's probably like 20 minutes long and has
it's an hour. It's an hour long.
Okay.
And there's over 1,000 cosplayers in the video. And I had Manny. I was like, Manny, we got to make it big. We've got to add VFX to all the cosplayers who have special powers. So Manny, I think, as soon as I turned my back, was like pulling out a knife. I'm going to kill you.
So I love hearing this information because there is a really funny part in this movie. And now it's leading me to a question that I did not have. But since you are a jump first in and have everything very big, are you the one who choreographed that hilarious scene where the cosplayers were doing the wrong routine?
The routine.
Okay. So for that, I did not choreograph that. In the script, it was they're doing something that is completely opposite of an actual cosplay like routine. And I was talking to them and I was like, guys, it's got to be weird. It's got to be funky. Because again, I usually put more on my plate than I can finish. So I'm already, finishing all this other stuff while we're on set. And I kind of handed it off to, the Team Xander rules. And they were like, okay, should we make it sexual? And I'm like, yeah, that sounds wrong. Make it sexual. Go for it. And they choreographed the whole thing.
I turn around.
I don't know if I could have choreographed. I couldn't have choreographed them. I wouldn't have felt right being like, you get under his legs, start humping everything.
I'm like collecting paperwork and I walk past the stage and I turn and in the corner of my eye, I see them dropping it low in the Mean Girl stance from like the Christmas dance. And I'm like, oh my God. And they're adding, like Kyle was saying, like the bump and grind to it and all this. And I'm like, this is brilliant. And so they choreographed that themselves. And then
that's amazing.
Fun fact, the Rockets later needed to film the decoy dance, which in the movie takes place, as like a little flashback scene. And like so we actually had to copy their dance when we filmed the decoy dance. And but we didn't need to do it exactly. We just wanted to do it similarly. So we'd seen the movie, all of us, that sequence a bunch of times, and we just went for it.
Oh my God. They went crazy doing the decoy dance section. I've got so much B-roll of the Rockets just like doing. Punky was hilarious in that entire scene. She's just like, there's a lot there.
There's a lot to unpack. Most of it good.
Well, yeah, that was such a funny moment, but there was so much in there that I loved. And again, I mentioned before that this movie has a lot of heart, and it's because there's that comedic relief there too. But there are so many touching moments, and I think it was written so well. So, Erin, I do want to talk to you too about the writing because I know you had a big hand in that as well. So, talk to us through what was kind of your inspiration, because I will say for two different reasons, because one kind of like broke me. But this movie, for a zombie film, I compared the amount of heart this movie has to another big zombie movie with a lot of heart, also known as Train to Busan. Obviously, very different.
Amazing.
But that heart is there because I will tell you, this movie, I connected to it so quickly. But again, too, I think because of the representation, I really saw myself in Rocket immediately. But yeah, if you want to talk to us through some of the inspiration and ideas that you had with the script.
Yeah, so when it comes to my roles with ZombieCon, I mean, Claire, acting wise and producing wise, I'd say took up the majority of my contribution here. I was a co-writer, Manny was too, Kyle, obviously the third leg here, but to be quite honest, this was Kyle's baby, and he took the story, original concept, he put it together, he brought Manny and I in, and we weren't Manny wasn't living with us at the time. He later moved in with us, but he was there every day because that's where our office was. And every single day, Kyle would be going over the different scenes. And in the beginning, he was kind of assigning, if you will, being like, "Oh, why don't you take a stab at this? You take a stab at this scene." And then we would come the next morning, and Kyle would have written his scene, tackled ours, taken over another one or two. Like, he was just off to the races. He could see the whole movie in his mind, and he'd made up the characters too. And so it was just flowing. And so Manny and I were much more of a bounce board and a back and forth and oh, I like that. Oh my God, that works really well. What if you connect those two? That'd be brilliant. Like, it was a team effort through and through, but this was Kyle running away with the story and just like spinning it as he saw it, just like popping off. I think he had the whole script written in a couple days. It was insane. And
Good Lord.
He's like that way with everything he writes. He's written, I think, through 5 of the sequels for ZombieCon, and I edited them. That's the part that I love doing with writing as well. I love editing. It's like my favorite thing in the world. I'm such a stickler for grammar and rules and all that, but I also love being the first one to jump in. But yeah, when it comes to the writing of this film, that was Kyle, and it was cool being in the room and a part of it, watching it come together. Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Kyle, you did a great job because those characters had so much depth. There was so much funny moments. There was so many moments that tug at your heartstrings. I think you did a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
And you comparing us to Train to Busan, like I might die and go to heaven, and if I die and become a zombie, that's okay too, because I'm right there with you. That's one of my absolute favorite, not just zombie films, but films. I think it's brilliant and just has all the emotion there, like from the feels to some comedy to the characters you're rooting for or you don't expect to root for, and then you do.
Yeah.
And I sob every time at the end. So it's amazing.
Yeah. This kind of had me like that too. There were obviously like I connected. I just in general, and I'm sure like plenty of people can act chemistry, but I'm sure it helped that you knew, they were already people that were friends and you guys all knew each other. And so it shows because this felt like I was like a fly on the wall with a group of friends. And then the way that they're, with obviously Rocket processing things and everything. And then, like just being there, it felt like this was all very realistic. But some of the lines in this had me in stitches. And Mike knows this about me. I'm very like, about comedy. I prefer more like I want really dark stuff. That's like my preference. But when something hits right for me, I end up like falling in love with it. And this was one of those things for me because there's like you mumbling and you're like, "Oh, said all the assholes in the world to be zombies." I was dying. And then the realization of like, you know how many assholes there are in the world? Like, and it was just these conversation things. It's like, even obviously in this situation with it being zombies, like these are conversations friends have. This is the kind of stuff that like friends say to each other. And it was just so believable. And I'm with you. Like when we get to Big Mama towards the end, I was so like stressed out. I was like, what are we gonna find like when we get there? Because I need this family to stay. I need everybody together. Okay. Like I need, and to be able to create something that has really cool effects, engaging characters, a really fun story, is funny and emotional. I don't think is a very easy thing to pull off at all. So I thought that was a lot of fun. And Mike knows this about, he knows I'm a stickler for things that are supposed to be funny, because I'm always like, was it funny though? You know, but this was definitely something that I was giggling most of the way through. And I just wanted, I guess that's not a question. I just wanted to say
I am so glad to hear that.
yeah,
So
that
glad to
it
hear
does work. And I think that's why you're getting the reactions from viewers that you're getting, is because people are connecting with these characters and are connecting with the story. And even though there may be moments where things feel dire or they're stressful, there's a lot of comedy. And then there's that kind of found family that Mike was touched on a little earlier, of just this idea of these people who care about each other, who now have to navigate this very messed up world. And I think that that's something really, really relatable.
That's so awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of
Really.
course.
I mean, it's a very difficult film to describe to people when you're, kind of
I
like
bet.
pitching it, because
I
mean,
bet.
like you were saying, like it's not all horror, it's not all comedy. It gets really dark. It also gets really silly. It hits you in the feels. It also is
Yeah.
unexpected. I mean,
Yep.
it kind of just, I think the best way to describe it, and like we've been talking about in this conversation, it's really meant to be like real life. You're
Yeah.
dropping in like a fly on the wall with this friend group in impossible circumstances, and yet that's how it, unveils and unrolls itself. It feels crazy. It feels real. It feels grounded. At least that's what we were really going for. So
Nailed it.
that really means the world.
Yeah.
Truly.
No, I think you nailed it. Yeah.
Yeah, and the characters, and like Erin was saying, in terms of trying to describe it, because it's so much more than just a zombie movie. It really is. It's kind of like an anime OP. Like you're getting introduced to this world, to the mechanic that creates zombies. But the main thing that you're supposed, my intention was like to be taken away from was the characters, was the friend group. Just like in any anime, like you got your core group of friends, and you continue watching the anime because you want to see the progression of those characters. And we got very blessed with the people that we knew, because a lot of the archetypes of those characters are obviously those people, right? Like there's a lot of Punky in Punky. There's
I believe that. I believe that.
There's a lot of, Christian and Javier. There's a lot of Erin and Claire. And the only one that is like a mirror image of himself is Manny. Because Manny is like that Rocket character in terms of his like kind of bitterness towards the assholes and just like kind of society probably comes more from my own journey. And I probably
I can see that.
But for Manny himself, like Manny is the absolute nicest human being on the planet. Like you could probably offend him. You could kick dirt in his face and he'd be like, he probably, I don't know. He wouldn't thank you for it.
You're like, well, I don't know what's up with that man. Like that guy sucks.
What happened?
But he would be totally fine. He'd be like, whatever. I don't know what his deal is.
Yeah.
He doesn't get ruffled at all.
I was talking to him yesterday and he was on the phone with me while at work, while watching his 1-year-old son who just started to learn how to walk. And he's like, talking to his son who he's like, I set him down in a neutral area and he immediately runs for the most dangerous item in the room. So I hear him like, come back. And he picks it. I'm like, Manny, do you need to go? He's like, no, man, I want to talk to you. So balancing all this stuff with like the most positive attitude on the planet. And I'm like, this man is sent from heaven. I don't know where this guy is from, but he's awesome.
Our mix of the Rockets personalities in real life, plus Kyle and him kind of blending it in there. I mean, it really made this movie feel like a completely different experience from an actor's standpoint than anything I've ever been a part of, because it wasn't like real life, our dynamic, and yet the second that we were sinking in to, it was like action, it felt like we were just friends ourselves sitting around a couch, going through this whole war.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it was so easy to connect to everybody, because it did feel genuinely authentic. And the way you're talking about the actors too, because one part that kind of broke me in this movie was when Rocket does start to get angry or like angry at the world, because in the you set him up with like, oh, he's always positive, he's got so much optimism, he looks for the good stuff, and then to see him start to get broken, I was like, oh, I don't like where this is going. And then just together, the chemistry is so great. We mentioned found family, and they are a found family, and I think the reason why it feels so genuinely authentic too, as you guys mentioned, like these people have lived with you, they've worked on so many projects with you, it is a found family, and I think that's why this movie works so well.
Thank
Told
you.
I'd be gushing.
I
I
appreciate it so much, and I do agree. We're really good friends in real life, and we have that kind of rapport and connection and trust in each other, and filming it and going through this experience together, both like in front of and behind the camera, was incredible.
And I do I will take a little bit of credit for this one thing. I did subject them all to a bonding experience prior to filming. So not everyone had been initiated in the world, or I guess the religion of anime that I had been steeped in for my entire life. So I wanted to make sure everyone was kind of brought up to the level. So I was like, guys, we're having a cast barbecue. We're gonna have sangria. It's gonna be fun, and invited everyone over. And I was like, okay, guys, everyone's had a good time. We've had a few drinks. Get another drink. Sit down. We're gonna watch a little anime, and sat everyone down. And then I put on Berserk.
Oh my god!
I've heard of that one. I haven't seen it, but I heard of it. I thought you made everybody watch One Piece back to back to back.
Oh yeah, right. We would just now be starting the movie, here in 2026.
We did a little Attack on Titan, and
I love that one.
Which Attack on Titan was, and back then, right? We weren't even close to the first final season, let alone the final season.
Final,
final.
I'm super picky when it comes to anime. I don't like silly ones. I like, which is I guess on par for who I am as a person, but like Full Metal Alchemist is my favorite. I had somebody tell me one time, they were like, oh, it's just because you don't watch it. I promise you, I could watch every anime on this planet, and that one will forever be my one, my special. It's the first anime I ever saw. It's the first one I ever watched from beginning to end. It used to come on Adult Swim when I was going to bed at night on weekends, and I watched it on reruns until I was finally able to watch all of it. And it's just super meaningful to me in that way. But I like the ones that are more serious, like Attack on Titan. I used to watch Samurai Champloo was another one that I really liked.
Nice.
That one was so good. Of course, that one did have like some comedy to it. And then I've gotten all the way through it, but I started watching it with our oldest, Jujutsu Kaisen. I really like that one.
Yes.
But I am not versed. I'm working on it. But it is very, very good. But I like those, like the ones that are like just very serious and not so round in the features, the more like sharp draw, like that type of art style is more my preference. But I love that you guys are nerds. That makes me so happy.
I will recommend Angel Berserk 100%. It is about as like dark and real and sharp as you could possibly get. Now the animation, if you could find the original anime, is good. It's hand drawn. It's never had a huge budget because it's an extremely kind of adult material. And the newer stuff, they came out with a couple movies, and again, they use a lot of the computer graphics, which it's going to turn you off. It's really bad, but the story is absolutely fantastic.
That's what I'm here for. Okay.
I would also suggest like just searching YouTube for like Berserk manga like breakdowns, and a lot of channels will go page by page and go through the entire story. It's like one of the best stories, like especially for the vibe that you just explained that you like.
Yeah.
I think you'll really enjoy it.
I'll have to check that out. Yeah, because I know of it. I haven't seen any of it. And then I've seen a couple of other ones, like Hellsing I've watched, which was only one season. Cowboy Bebop, which was only one season, which is a crime against humanity, because that was an incredible one. So I just like that kind of stuff. So I'll look into it though for sure, because I like them. I'm just very picky about the
I
ones
think
that
you'd
I'll.
like Black Lagoon as well.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
I don't know what that one
Lagoon
is.
is really good.
It
Yeah,
came
and it's
out
got a
around
main
probably
character
Samurai
named Rock.
Champloo.
Oh, so it's a little bit older. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's dark, it's serious, it's gritty. The characters are great. It's
That sounds
intense. It's really good.
perfect. That's what I'm.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for. Yeah.
Well, do you guys have any other projects in the works? I know we're on volume 1 of ZombieCon, so I know there's other volumes, but are you guys working on anything else that you can tell us about too?
Yeah, we actually, this is the reason why we're in separate places right now. I have my daughter with Kyle's parents in Florida because he's like pedal to the metal editing right now. We were hired to produce a micro horror for Screamify, which we are
Okay.
so pumped about. It the plot is largely under wraps, so can't give too
Sure.
much away there.
Yeah.
But I
Sure.
can say that we're the first horror series to ever shoot in an autonomous vehicle.
Okay.
All
And
right, that
things
sounds interesting.
take a dark and twisted turn,
I'm
and
intrigued.
it is, like, amazingly badass. We didn't write this one. This is from
Yeah.
actually the founder of Screamify himself. This is his,
Okay.
like, script, and I star in it. We produced it. Kyle direct and shot it and is editing it, and,
Wow. Okay.
we're hoping that it's gonna be out around, like, April-ish, but it's definitely
Okay.
gonna be in, like, in spring of this year, so
Okay.
hey, if you guys wanna have us back on and when it's ready
Yeah.
for us to send you a screener, we would love all the above. And
Yeah.
Absolutely.
go, a little bit more in depth, of course, then, but
At that point, sure. Yeah.
right,
No,
we
we'd
we
love
also have a
to.
feature film in post-production right now, and this one was a super low budget one that we shot last year and had to pause during the marketing of ZombieCon to focus on that.
Yeah.
But it's a more traditional horror bottle film. Kyle stars in it, and it takes
Okay.
place in the house that we're at right now. He's at right now. And long story short, it's a frustrated filmmaker who moves across the country from LA to Atlanta with his pregnant wife, and
Okay.
he's into the in-laws house, and he's making one last ditch attempt under her nose, basically, to shoot a feature film and make his dreams come true. But things don't turn out the way he planned, and some
Oh,
horror.
interesting.
So that
Is
one's
it
got a little
found
bit of fun.
footage?
It's not found footage.
Okay.
It sounds like it could have been. I
I
see
was
why
like, it
you
sounds
asked
like
that.
it could be.
I see that's why you asked that. That's like our everything. We love found footage. So I
So-
see why you asked that. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, that sounds like something that's in the show.
Technically, there is some found footage in the
Okay.
film, so it's a little bit of like a oh my gosh, I'm forgetting the word. Too much
Hybrid?
editing for me. But it's basically he's filming a movie, obviously, like Erin said. So we're watching him film the movie and watch back the footage of the movie. So that
So there's that element. It's almost like a
Yeah.
hybrid. Yeah. Yeah.
And he wears meta glasses in it, and he's filming a lot, and we do see, like, his POV straight from his glasses
Oh,
when
I'm
he's
here
going
for
to the
stuff
house
like
and stuff.
that.
So it's got some interesting kind of twists and turns
That
of
sounds
technology there
cool.
too.
Yeah. We
Nice.
need unique stuff, y'all. I mean, we watch so much
Yes.
of this. It's like it's the same stuff over and over again, just constantly mass produced, and that's why we obviously love indie filmmakers so much. But that's like that all sounds like just so unique. Like yeah, we need more of that.
Yeah, you guys are so creative. That's why
I
we
love
love
it.
watching everything that you're doing.
Yeah, yeah, check and check for sure.
Well, count yourselves if you're interested. Count yourselves in for screeners, and we love to come on and be able when they're out to talk more about it with you
Of
because
course.
the shooting of the Freudian slip there. The shooting of both of those were also really unique and really fun and really crazy projects as well. And we did bring Mama Bear from ZombieCon. Actually
Okay.
plays I play the pregnant wife in it, and my mother. She's actually now Claire's my mother in this one.
Oh,
Which
okay.
new,
Little
sorry,
twist,
Rocket,
okay.
I stole your mom.
That's hilarious. I love that. No, that sounds awesome. Yeah, you guys are welcome back anytime. We love
Yes.
we love these
And then-
conversations so much. Like we get really lucky because obviously like we would love to talk to like the people making millions off their movies too, but in reality, like these are the conversations that like they just make us happy. They're so fun. They're always engaging. We always learn something crazy cool. and it's just always a good time. So you guys, yeah, you're welcome back anytime. Anytime we can help promote, we're here. Seriously, use
Oh,
us.
appreciate it. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And
Thank you so
the
much.
heart and soul of horror to us on this channel is indie horror. The
Yeah.
indie filmmakers, like we obviously you love, like we said, you love the big budget, the big studio films. They're so great. They have become classics. But I truly believe that horror doesn't run without the community and without the
Yes.
indie horror community, the filmmakers, the people who are watching them.
Yeah.
We absolutely love and champion indie films, and especially ones like ZombieCon Volume 1, because it was so creative, so heartfelt. I cannot stop talking about this movie and how great it is.
I
Well,
need
I
to jump in second. Like, yeah, the horror community, indie film horror doesn't work. Indie film in general, but especially with indie film like that are horror projects,
Yeah.
it doesn't work without the horror community and the support and love and championing
Yeah.
and conversations that the horror community brings 1,000%. Like I've been a part of horror projects and multiple times in my career, bigger studio stuff, indie film stuff. I've never marketed one before ZombieCon, and I've been, Kyle as well, blown away by the amount of love and support, enthusiasm, and inclusiveness, and just
Yeah.
passion that they bring as well for physical media, for indie film, for horror and genre films, and like the amount
Yeah.
of support that y'all show each other as well. Like it's
Yeah.
incredible.
It truly is. Yeah, absolutely. And I just wanted to touch on something that we blew over in one of the many compliments that you guys gave us, and it was in regards to the special effects for ZombieCon.
Oh,
and
yeah.
just wanted to give a shout out to our makeup artist who did
Yeah.
basically all of those special effects on like a shoestring budget, and his name is Joseph Drabresco. He's
Okay.
a fantastic
Very cool.
makeup artist, and he was the one who taught me all about spraying actors in the face with blood using weed sprayers, which is what we use.
Hilarious. I love it.
So, sometimes you can get those nice, big budget blood sprays with a $20 weed sprayer off Amazon.
That's
Just
awesome.
dilute the blood a little bit.
That's so funny. Yeah, no, they did. They looked really good. Very convincing body horror for it to be like, again, kind of on the silly side at moments. There's still that other side of it where it's like, oh, yeah, that was good. That looked good. Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. I had the joy of being
It looks like it. It looks like it was
sprayed in the face of all the rockets. I got the first, and we had no dress rehearsals, of course. There's no money or time for that. I had personally, even as a producer, I guess I wasn't privy to the conversations between Kyle and Joe about how much blood there was going to be, because I'm just focusing in my character in the moment, and the next thing you know, like, it's everywhere. It's in my mouth, it's in my eyes, I think it's in my ears. Like, it's I found it everywhere that night, and it painted our apartment for years to come. There we would find bits of blood on the walls. And
let me jump in here. This is when we were selling our apartment and moving out of Los Angeles, and the realtor's like, you got to paint it like this color is from the 70s, because it was like we never painted the apartment or anything. And I was like, all right, that's a fair point. Like, okay, whatever you think brings it up to date. So she's like, yeah, we'll just, paint it. Everyone's into white now. I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. So she brings in the painters, and I'm walking the guy around, and I'm like, okay, she said that she wants you to paint this and she wants you to paint that. And the window slats, and I pull open a curtain, and there's like a massive blood spray that it was behind my desk, so I never looked at it. And the guy was like, oh. I was like, no, that's from a movie.
I can explain.
Don't run away. Don't call the cops.
Police.
Well, we had another close call too. We had the bodies on the porch. If you remember, like, they get drug out there in the middle of the movie. And, I don't know if you could tell on film, but they actually look pretty good. That was partly my project, was to make the dead bodies. And I had a lot of fun with them. But they were laying out there, and we're walking the dogs one day, and in LA there are always helicopters flying around, and like, it's just a thing, so you never really think about it. But one day, I guess there was a car chase in our area, and this police helicopter flies like dangerously close to where we are, and I'm like, Erin, do we still have those dead bodies on our porch?
Oh
She's like,
no.
Sure do.
yes, we do. I was like, okay, we need to go back in right now and pull them off the porch before we have like the SWAT team show up at our
Oh
door.
my god.
Just the things you casually forget about, a couple
Yeah,
dead bodies on the porch.
Bloodstained
hilarious.
windows, dead bodies.
It's all part of indie
run-of-the-mill things.
filmmaking. Yeah.
But yeah,
Nice.
if you want to tell everyone where they can find you, I know ZombieCon Volume 1 is streaming exclusively on Screamify, correct?
Well, actually, because it was originally, for sale and rent, and it still is on like Apple TV and Amazon Prime and YouTube Movies. But originally, Screamify was the only streamer that you could watch it on. And just as of 2 days ago, we need to start marketing this, but it's now also available on Tubi and Plex.
Oh, very cool.
Yes. So now you want to watch it with ads, jump on
Go
in.
watch
It's
it.
there
Yep.
too. Yes.
Very cool.
Well, viewers, definitely give it a watch on
Yes,
Tubi.
please do. And we'll keep everyone updated on our socials. I actually run our socials. Kyle runs the TikTok, but if you communicate with @zombieconmovie on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, etc., that's us running it. Like, would love to chat with you guys. Reach out to us. And the website zombieconvol1.com has merch and the links to the DVD and the making of book and a whole bunch of just like really fun stuff as well.
Yeah, I'll put links to those in the description to make it easier for the shop and for the social media accounts to make it easier.
And
People can
something.
just
Oh, sorry.
No, good.
Oh no, I was going to say something quasi related to what Erin was saying. And for the international folks out there, I'm super excited about this. It is. So first off, it's coming out in England, which is like super awesome.
And Scotland.
Or it's out already. But we just got the news like recently that it's going to be released in Japan. So a distributor.
Oh, very cool.
Like, please, anyone from Japan, make this movie awesome so I can afford to come visit and like have a reason. Please.
Yes.
Aw, that's awesome. Okay. Well, cool. Well, thank you guys again for hanging out with us and talking about it. We've been really excited. And we kind of booked this like way out, but we've been talking about it, amping ourselves up. We are really excited. So thank y'all for making time. It means a lot to us.
The pleasure is all ours, honestly.
Sincerely.
Thank you
so much for having us.
And for loving our film and
Yeah.
being so passionate about it. And it's really a joy to get to discuss, and hearing what it means to each individual person just means the absolute world. Truly.
Oh, good. Yeah. Well, we don't lie here. You can watch other reviews, and they you'll know I'm very serious. We do not lie here. But yeah, well, cool. Well, like I mentioned, I'll put links on where you can find everybody, including the shop in the description for this episode. Go check this movie out if you like anything in the genre. I think it's going to check a lot of boxes for a lot of different people. So, and yeah, we look forward to having you guys back in the future.
Looking
thanks
forward
everybody.
to it.
Yeah, for hanging out with us on this episode. We hope y'all have a great rest of your week. Enjoy your weekend when you finally get there, and we'll see you guys in the next one.